Hi, and welcome to Fabric Bias. It is April 2025, and this is my this week project. I'm not sure when I'm going to get it done. It is a bag that I've done previously, and I will link that video below because I did have a tutorial on that. In case you want to do this, I am going to step through some of what I'm doing in this video just in case I forgot something in the other video. Right now, what I'm at is I've got my fabric cut out, and I've got kind of the basics started on this. I have the exterior pieces. I'm making 4 bags. I have the exterior piece which is 16 by 9, and then I have the interior pieces cut. They're 2 pieces, 10 1/4 by 9 and 6 1/4 by 9, and I've sewn them back together again, and I will even it out and cut it down so that the pieces sewn together will also be 16 by 9. And what I've done here is I've stitched it together, and hopefully you can see it. I've done my regular stitching and I back tack, and then I lengthened my stitching here to the largest. I think I did a 5 or a 5.5 here, depending on when I was sewing. I was just clicking my machine, and then I back tacked, and then I finished sewing here. And the reason for that is that's going to be my turning gap. But while I'm working with the fabric, until I get to that stage, I want it to act as just one piece of fabric, and I don't want it pulling in any way. So I've kind of stitched it in place. Learned this trick from Christine at Christine's Home Affairs. On one of the bags she did. So what I've done is on 2 of these, just to show you, I've actually pressed it open. I usually don't press my seams open. I usually press them one side or the other. But because I'm going to be opening this as a turning gap, I want it open, not folded to the side, just to make it easier. So I have my zippers picked out here at the top, and then I have the bag is going to have a little strap at one end of it, and I have those stitched up right here. And what I did was to do these dimensions, they are 2 inches by, the final dimension for a single bag would be 2 inches by 8 inches for your cut. These are 2 inches by 16, and all I did was I took, because these are 16-inch pieces here, I took what was left over and used that to make this decision on this length. I may not end up needing 8 inches completely. I'll kind of play with it when I get done, but either way, anything extra I would have been waste. So I'm going to go ahead and incorporate it in the beginning and then figure out what length I actually do need. I know I need about 8 inches. These 2 little straps here are, again, it's for 4 bags, so I'll be cutting them in half. I'm debating on whether or not I want to put a little fabric loop on the inside of the bag, so I went ahead and, because I had the scraps available, I went ahead and stitched these together, and the cut dimension of one loop would be about 1 1/4 inches wide, which you fold up to 1/4 of that, and by 2.5 inches long. So the actual loop will be about that long, and then it'll fold in half and stick out. And I'll just use put it at whatever length in the seam that I want this amount to stick out. That gives me some flexibility on that. So I haven't decided yet whether or not I'm going to add the fabric loop, but it is ready to go because I've already got them folded and sewn for both those things. So I'm getting ready to put the whole bag together again. I haven't decided. I think I'll go ahead and put some interfacing on here. Can't remember what I did the last time. So I'm going to go take a look at that and see if I'm going to actually put interfacing on the last time, because I did like how the bag came out the last time. I know I was playing with it at that time, so I may not have, but so I'm still deciding on that one. So this is where I'm going to stop. I actually am in the middle of watching my WRL racing back there. So it's almost over, so it's not in the middle, but towards the end. And then I'm going to move forward with this bag and see how it goes. Also, I got a brand new sewing machine, which I'm not going to sew on with this one because it's a lot fancier than the machine I have. Yeah, I want to get this bag done fairly quickly, so I will start on that one. I've got it unpacked and on the table. I just gonna wait to sew on it till I can figure out how to use it. So, all right, I will be back in a flash. Just a quick back on this one. I have taken my exterior pieces and I've matched them and made sure that all of my lining pieces actually ended up pretty much the same size. And I'm not really gonna have to do that much trimming. I don't know if you can see it all, but this is these 2 together, and they're pretty much a really close match here. And you can see I've got a little bit of that on there. I'm not worried about that because that's going to end up in the seam on that, but really close. And here's the pink one. You can see it just barely over on that. And I've done the same with these ones. They're just really, really close match on that one. So I did a pretty good job stitching them together. Pretty happy about that. So I still haven't decided yet. My race just ended. So I still haven't decided yet about the interfacing, so I'm going to go take care of that right now. Okay, so I went back and watched, and I did use, it looked like fusible fleece on my on my last video. I did go ahead and do that here. I'm pretty sure I pieced it on the last video as well, and you can see I am actually piecing together my scraps of fusible fleece because I just like to use everything up when I sew. I think I did a pretty good job of doing that. Of course, I pieced the lining together and pressed, so I remade everything up, and then I trued them all up again, and I did pretty good. I barely had to cut anything off on that. So now I'm on to the zipper phase here, where I think I'm going to be adding the zipper, but I do want to go back through and rewatch that entire video that I filmed the last time to make sure I'm not going to make any mistakes, hopefully, or at least cut down on them. So I'll be back in a flash. Okay, so I decided I wanted to get a handle on it, but I kind of decided that at the beginning, and I thought that I could just space it across there and put it on, and if I do that, it just doesn't work out. I did also, though, decide that I wanted that fabric loop, and that did work out. I just put it right here where the zipper is. So I think what I'm going to do is flip this back inside out and open this seam and move this so that it's just lined up right with the zipper, and it just comes straight up from the zipper, and see how that looks. Not exactly the look I was going for, but I think that's going to work way better because this is definitely not working. All right, I'm going to go back and try that. Okay, I'm at the folding stage on the bags at this point, and I've got this one prepped to go. I want to show you how I got here. What I've done is I have the centers marked. So my outside, my exterior fabric here, my interior fabric here, I found the centers and I marked them with pins. So pulling them out, matching my zippers ends up here and here, and finding the centers here and here. I'm going to pretty much ignore the interior piece at this point. I just want to deal with this exterior piece. I am adding a handle, which I didn't do in the previous video, and I want to show you what I figured out on that one because it didn't work the first time I tried it. So I'm going to show you here what I did. So now I'm going to take this and dealing only with the exterior piece. I'm going to match my pin here, my center pin, to the center of the zipper in here. And I'm going to pin this to the zipper, but not through the lining. So I'm not dealing with the lining at all. I just want to get the center of the exterior lined up with that zipper, center of the zipper. So I'm getting the lining out of the way. And then I'm going to pin here and here. Oh, I just dropped a pin on the floor. I have to grab that in just a second. Luckily nobody's in here. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, except this is where it's open. And I do have the zipper open at this point so that when I flip it, I can do it easily. So I'm just going to mate these together. Make sure they're laying nice and flat and not twisted. And line that up with the center there. And then I'll hold that while I move my pins around here. So again, what I'm trying to do is take my pin and pin it right here on the zipper. So I'm not pinning on the fabric at all here. Wow, it's pretty dark. Let's see if I move some stuff around. See if that's a little bit better. Sorry, technical difficulties here. But I'm going to try to get that pin right in there as I line it up. So line that up here again, line up my zipper. And then I'm going to take my pin and put it here. And the reason for that is I'm actually going to be taking a portion, taking this folded piece right here, and I'm going to be shoving it up and lining it up with the edge of this piece right here, fabric, on both sides. So I don't want my pin in the way, because if my pin's in the way, line that up, I won't be able to get there as far in as I want to. And right in there. Okay, and I want to make sure I didn't catch any of that lining fabric. So I didn't catch the lining fabric. There it is, all nice and open. I still have my center marked there because I'm going to need that in a second. And I have the two pins in here, and they're lined up, not catching any of this previous fabric there. And then let me check the other side too. So yeah, pretty good here. So you can see my pins are here before the fabric on that. This side's easier to do, of course, because the zipper's not open. Now I'm going to take this piece here, and I have it creased because I have my marks here. And I'm going to take that crease now, and I want to take that crease, and I want the crease to line up with where this fabric is, right here. So there's my crease. I'm going to put it right in there, right in between. And when I fold it over, hopefully they should be about the same size. They should match. If not, I'll have to play with it a little bit because I don't have it in the right spot, but let me see. And I don't. So I'm going to play with that a little bit and get that right in the middle there, so they're both the same. There, I want these both to be the same size, so when I bring them up, they match there. And I'm going to use a clip to keep that in place while I do the other side. This should go in easier. There. And there it goes. So that's lined up. Clip that. And there, that side's done. Nicely and evenly lined up. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Push that down into the center. And fold it over. Let's see. I have that lined up right there. Not ready. Not even. Shift it around. And there we go. Lined up. Clip it. And this side should be easier because it's already pinned. On the other side, let's see. Oh, what do you know? It's not working. There we go. And clip that. So now I've got that all in place. My lining is nice and free. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to line that up now with the center. I want the center of the lining lined up here on the zipper and here on the zipper. So it's all even. And then this lining here is going to tuck in between these two pieces here. So I'm going to get that out of the way. And I'm going to fold that into here. Put it back down, clip it, and then take that out of the way. And it didn't quite go on the floor. Almost lost another thing on the floor, but that did remind me there's a pin down there. There. So I have outside layer with the inside layer wrapped around the other outside on there. So there that is. And so I just have to do the same on this side. I'm going to take that clip off. Got this nice and straight. Pull that into there. You can see the little 2-inch mark is lining up right on the edge there. Don't really need it, except it's nice as a verification that I do have it in the right spot. And there we go. Okay, so there we go. Now before I stitch across here, because the next step here would be to stitch here and here, I do want to add, I do like having the tab, and on the first one I did, I'll show it, I did finish it. So here it is, with the handle on the outside redone. And I put the tab on the inside. I kind of really like the idea of having it on the outside because then you can hold it while you're doing your zipper, because this is a little bit awkward. So what I'm gonna do is have the handle and then have the little fabric loop on the other side, on the outside of the bag rather than the inside. And I could always put another one on the inside, but that seems like a little bit of overkill. I'm not gonna do that. So here's my fabric loop. Here's my handle. I want it to go on the outside of the bag. So this, I don't want it in here where the lining is, here on this side. And I'm not gonna put it in the center. I want it, here is my exterior. So I'm going to actually have to take these pins out and slide this down the zipper here on the inside. So let's see. Take those out carefully. I've got the clips in place. Hold that in place. I'm going to open that up and I'm going to slide this down the zipper and see where my stop is. My zipper stop is right here. That's plenty of room. I'm not going to sew that far up, so I don't have to worry about that. I will keep it in mind though as I sew because I don't want to break my needle. Or hurt my machine. in any way, so I'm going to tuck that in. And I do like this length, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it pretty much the whole length here. Although I could, you know, if I wanted it shorter, I could pull it out on that. But I'm going to center that in there. And then rather than put my pins back in place, I think I'm just going to clip it. Oh, maybe not. I'm going to have to order some more of these. There. And then on this side, same spot. I want this to be on the outside on top of the zipper, so I'm going to take those carefully out, because now these, remember, are holding the zipper together. And I'm going to lay this on top here. Make sure those are still together and not crossed. And I kind of like that length. I shortened it on the last one, but I kind of like this length. It goes, it's going to be that long. That'll give me more to grip, or whoever ends up with this bag. And I'm going to carefully clip it in place. I think I'm actually going to pin this side too, just to be safe. And I'm going to pin all the way through now to the back, if it'll let me. Yeah, having trouble. There. Well, and that way I can remove this pin from the back side of the lining, and I don't have to worry about sewing over that. So I'll move those out of the way. Okay, so now I have my fabric loop here, and I have my handle here, and all I have to do is stitch across each of the ends here. I will back stitch over here to reinforce where the handle is, and over here to reinforce where the loop is, and also because I'm going to be cutting off the stops here. These stops, I don't know if you can still see them, but there's stops are on this side, and I'll be cutting those off. So I do want to back stitch here because I don't want the zipper to have a chance to pull all the way off, because that always kind of stinks. Okay, so that should be ready to sew and then go, and I'm going to prep the other two the rest of the way. I've got this one partially done. I'm finish with this one and do this one, and then get to sewing. All right, I'll be back in a flash. So this really comes open really easy. I just have to, I know it's this somewhere right in here is where it is, and I just stuck my seam ripper in and kind of open just gently, and I can see where the big stitches are, and I just kind of slide it slowly through there. I don't want to end up poking in there and ripping that, so I'm just making sure I get the top until I meet some resistance, and then flip it around, and I'll do the same thing this way and go just a little bit till I meet some resistance, and there we go. My turning gap is now open and ready to go. All right, time to sew. Ta-da! Here they are. So all four of them are the same bag, but I just have them collapsed differently. So here they are all poofed up, these two right here. And then this is the actual way it's supposed to condense down, I guess. I mean, you can really do it any way you want if it's your bag, but I like this because it's nice and compact, it stays together. But you can also just take this and kind of squish it, pull it out and squish it down. And that's the easiest way to do it. If you can't figure out how to get it this way, that's pretty easy. It just doesn't, you can see, doesn't kind of store as flat on that. So let me show you with this bag. I do want to show you too. I put the handles on differently, but I'll show you that in just a second. So if you want to collapse it this way, then you're just kind of pulling it out like that and flattening it down. Ta-da! There we go. But if you want to go and have it, and it poofs right back up easy too, like that, you can see. If you want to have it this way, you're going to flip it over, and you're going to take those corners in, and you're going to push them in. Oop, took it right off camera. You're going to push them right in and tuck them into the other corner. And then this corner gets tucked into that corner, like that. Ta-da! And you get a nice flat bag to store on that. So let me do that one more time. Pull it out to just kind of squish it down, if you want to. Ta-da! And then it fluffs right back up, really nice and easy. So maybe quick storage to put away. And then if you want to do it the other way, you're going to take this corner, or these corners here, and push them into the other corners like that. And then these corners go into these corners here, like so. Ta-da! And you've got a nice and compact, like that, versus this. Again, this though poofs right back up again. And this one, now I have to figure out how to do it. So I'm gonna get the corners out here. Oops, now, oh look, you could do it this way too, I guess. But, so you're gonna kind of pull it open and get those corners out. I mean, now that I messed it up. Pull the corner out of the corner, flip that around, pull the corner out, pull the corner out until you get your triangles on the ends here, and poof it back out. Triangles on the end and poof it back out. There we go. There it is. There it is. Sort of. Shouldn't have flipped it the other way. I threw myself off. There. So again, you're getting those triangles on the ends. Triangle on the end and poofing it out. There's a triangle. Get that triangle out there and get it poofed out. Poof. So let me show you without doing it the wrong way. So I'm just going to take the other corner out and separate the corners out. And pull out that corner again to make the triangle. Pull out this corner to make the triangle. Triangle, and one more corner to make a triangle. There they are. And voila. Poof. Ta-da. There they are all poofed out. Oh, let me show you the inside. So did I do the thing about the handle already? You can put the handle on either side. So you can see on this one, I put, oh well, here, where did it go? So on this one, I put the fabric loop. There's the handle on the outside. And this is the one I did originally where I put the fabric loop on the inside. And then I decided it would actually be nice to have it on the outside. So you can put it on either the inside or the outside here. Here it is on the outside. And the reason I like that is here, when you open it up, you can grab it on this side. It gives you something to hold on to close it. That's why I like it that way. You can also do the handle, so you can see on this one, I put the handle on so that the zipper, if I was holding it up, the zipper would be on the downside, where on this one, when I hold it up, the zipper's on the top. That's my preference, but you can go either way on that one. And then the inside of these bags, let me just show you. I did this nice pink fabric on some of them, and then you can see blue zipper, and I have this blue fabric on the inside there. And again, because this is for my friend, I put these little cute labels on that say handmade. I really like them, that my friend gave my daughter and to myself actually on those. So there they are. I hope you like them. I hope that wherever and whenever you're at, you're having a great time, and thanks for watching.